And so, for those of you that have known me for a while, you have noticed a shift in my branding, and that is why. So, if I can get technology to work, here's what we'll be covering today. We will be moving you guys over this way so I can see. What we will be covering is financial abuse. Like, what does it even mean? How does it affect the partner or the spouse? Because you don't have to be married to be experiencing financial abuse. What is the effect on the children and on the family as a whole? And then I'm going to go over some examples of financial abuse and how financial abuse is used to control, manipulate, and isolate those that are going through it. Before I move on to the next slide and to what I'm going to say, I also just want to give you a basic definition of financial abuse. And it is a tactic that is used, it's a common tactic used by abusers to control and have power over you, and also to manipulate the people that they want to have power and control over. And they do it in such a way, as I said, that a lot of people, like myself, won't even realize that it's happening until later on. So, as I said, financial abuse occurs when a partner tries to control um, your access to your financial resources, limits your financial independence, and makes it difficult for you to leave the relationship, even if you see for other reasons that you want to, because they completely manipulate and control and take power over you. And let's be honest, money is an energy that is needed to be able to be independent, to be able to be self sufficient, to have your basic needs. So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, well, how can they be making it difficult for you to the victim to leave the relationship? It's because they're holding on to the energy that our society has put in place for us to just get access to our basic needs: food, clothing, shelter, right? A way to leave. You can't find a way to leave oftentimes unless you can pay for travel or some kind of something. So this is where this all boils down to. And it's a very insidious, slow, secretive, almost in a way, process. And by the I will be giving examples later, and I'll use myself as an example as well. But one of the examples I want to bring up here right now is, as I said, I didn't know it was happening. But before I met my ex-husband, I lived on my own. I had a full-time job. I was paying all the bills. They were getting paid on time. I knew what the financial status of my life was. Once we got further into our relationship and got married, married couples usually take on different roles. So he insisted that he take on the financial role. In the beginning, we were doing it somewhat together, but as the years went on, he started taking over complete control of the finances getting done. And I didn't think much of it at the time because I just thought we were taking on different responsibilities within the relationship. I'll go into that a little bit more later on, but just wanted to share that right now. So common forms of financial abuse are restricting access to your finances. Okay? And they will give you, like, they'll start giving you an allowance. They'll start saying, well, here, you can have this much money a week. And even if you can justify that much money isn't going to get what you're responsible to get in the week, like the food shopping and, whatever, they will continue to limit your access. They will, as I just said, they will start to force you to justify why you need the finances. Why do you need $500? $500 in a week? Are you kidding? And they'll actually start forcing you to, like, syllable by syllable, start telling them what you need the money for. Okay. They will, by controlling the finances, they will start to control, your personal opportunities, like your social opportunities to go out with friends. They'll also start controlling your employment opportunities because they might say, you know, you can only work this amount of hours, you can only have access to this amount of money. If my ex used to say, if you make this amount of money, then I'm only giving you this amount. It didn't matter if we were lacking something in the house or our son, if our son needed something, if I went over what he thought was the right amount or the amount needed for those things, I had to scrape it up somehow and then hide how I did it. Craziness, but that's what it is. They will actually also, by taking control of finances, they will sabotage your employment opportunities. They will sabotage your ability to get further in school. They will, my ex used to say to me, you don't do enough. You should be working more. You should be bringing in more money. I actually had the opportunity to go get further education to give me a chance to have my own business sooner than I did. And because I didn't actually start my own business until a few years after he left, because everything I did to try and start my own business, he undermined, completely undermined. I went back to work part time and he took my paycheck. It was mandatory. And I'm a very independent person. And I met him because I was very self sufficient, very self confident. Everything that he started to take away from me, characteristics of myself that he started to take away from me, were things that actually brought him to me. They were characteristics that he admired about me. But then he totally flipped the switch. And I always said, being that I was a psychology major and all these things, right? Ignorance is bliss, right? And I said, I'll never fall into a relationship that where I'll see these signs. This will never happen to me. Hell, I'm here to tell you, has nothing to do with intelligence or anything like that. And that was my own ignorance. Okay. And my thinking that I had gone through so much in my life before meeting him and I had the education behind me. So this was never going to happen to me. And that was one of the biggest things that was hard for me, especially in the realm of the financial abuse, keeping on this topic. I experienced emotional abuse and I experienced verbal abuse, but that wasn't as hard for me to swallow. It was all hard for me to swallow, but that wasn't as hard for me to swallow as the financial abuse because, he would literally yell at me and say, why everything? Why do I have to pay the bills? Why da, 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 da? And I'd say, you don't have to. Give me the damn bills. Stop hiding them from me. Before I married you, I was taking care of the bills. But he would play this psychological game and he would use this currency, this energy of money to be one of the most intense ways that he did this. He would make me doubt myself around. He would gaslight me to the point of thinking, what did I not do this before I met you? Because I don't know. But anyway, so they sabotage everything and they make you think, for lack of a better word, they make you think that you're going insane and you've totally lost your capacity. So how financial abuse affects a partner, and I've kind of alluded to some of this, but I really want to drive it home, is it erodes your self-confidence and your self-esteem. You just start to fall. You can be one of the most confident people. You can have the highest level of self-esteem. By the time I met him, I had done a lot of inner work and I had raised my self-confidence and my self-esteem. And like I said, I really believe that's part of what he was attracted to at first. But I completely became somebody else. And I had no self esteem and I had no self confidence. I became somebody that doubted herself so much that people that knew me were asking me what happened. Um, so there is that. It increases financial control and manipulation and the power struggle. It increases your dependency on the abuser. That's exactly what they want. It's not what you want, and you are struggling. Trust me. Even when I saw it happening, even though I didn't know financial abuse was a thing, when he took control of me by controlling the money, he increased my dependency on him tenfold, if not more, probably 10 million fold. And it was such a degrading feeling as it was happening. And then you have the feelings of helplessness and entrapment. I felt trapped. I felt stuck. I felt like I had nowhere to go. And I did feel helpless. And not only did I feel helpless, I felt hopeless because this was a man that behind closed doors was doing all of this financial control. But outside of our closed door, he was such a charismatic person. He had he had my family, my own family was thinking, oh, he's such a Prince Charming. And oh, look, he puts up with your disability. Because I have a disability, for those of you that may not know. I'm a full-time wheelchair user born with cerebral palsy. So he was my parents' knight in shining armor because he took, I will say it this way, he took their burden off of them because they didn't have to worry anymore who was going to help me if I needed help as I got older and things like that. They never said that outwardly, but I know it. And so while all of this was happening behind closed doors and I was becoming this shell of a person that I have worked so hard to become because I had experienced being bullied and all this stuff that attacked my self-esteem and everything from having a disability, right? And from, you know, being mislabeled and things. But why I bring that into this right now is because I went for therapy, I went for coaching, I did all the inner work to really become this self-confident person that was living on her own, had a full-time job, was navigating doctor's appointments on my own. And then when we first met, he was my biggest cheerleader. Like I'm sure a lot of people have this experience. They're your biggest cheerleader, rah, 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 you can do anything. And then they slowly just take you down. So I did. I felt trapped. I felt hopeless because the people that I could have gone to believed that he was God's gift to the universe. And it left me just crazed internally. And it really left me not being able to meet my own basic needs. More importantly than that, and more bothersome than that, it led me not to be able to take care of my son's basic needs without getting his permission first. And there were times that I literally had to beg him to allow me to just take care of my son's basic needs, sacrificing my own so that he would be okay with me doing what I needed to do for our son. So the long-term impact of financial abuse on the partner, on the spouse, on the other adult in the situation is an accumulation of debt. And believe me when I tell you that I am 13 years out of this relationship. And I'm not speaking from a place of lack. This is not what I want to bring forward. It's not what I mean. But I am still digging out of the debt and all the financial crap that he left me with because I've had to dig out and continue to currently live. So having to do both means that 13 years later, I'm still feeling the effects of the accumulated effects of his financial control, manipulation, and power trip. I definitely had difficulty rebuilding my independence because of what I just said, because I'm still digging out from the mess. So, yeah, I have rebuilt my independence, but it's still somewhat impacted and affected by the remnants of what I'm still trying to, you know, overcome, for lack of a better word. And after we did separate, like many people have in this situation, the, the struggle for financial stability is real because, and a lot of that is because of everything I just said and trying to currently live. So there's not an end. If we're dealing with in today's world, we all know how the economy is. It's not a very stable economy. There, things are much more expensive. So your financial stability can be a very rocky thing, which can also affect your self esteem, affect your self confidence. It will, because for a lot of people, and myself included, when I'm not careful and mindful of this, we we attach our success or our self-worth or our uh, value and our ability to hold our heads up high to how we're doing financially. And it's not something that I do as much anymore, but I will say, as I just said, if I'm not careful, I do crap of basically, you know, looking at myself and how I'm doing as to how my bank account is doing. And that is because you do need this energy of money to be able to have the things that, forget the things you want. We need it for the things that we need, just our basic needs. And for me, and for a lot of people on, who are presenters today, and probably a lot of us watching, in order for us to have the want to have in the world and be the helpers that we want to be, we need a financial base, right? If you have more, you can give more and you can do more. So it's all um it's all relative. Okay, let's see. Well, this one, I think, right? Wait, I might have just screwed up. Hold on one second. Let me get back to where I was. Forms of finance. Where was I? Did I just go like, wait, hold on, just give me 1 second. I just went really far, didn't I? Hold on. I will figure it out. Give me 1 second. My apologies. I
No
love technology.
apologies needed, sis. It's okay. I love
Well,
you.
thank you. I appreciate you all, but I'm just saying. Okay, let's go back up here for a second because I know where I was, but I can't find where I was. So we'll just go this
You're
way.
sitting in your seat.
Huh?
I said you're sitting in your seat. Mwah.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. Anyway, we'll go from this point. So, and we're going to go from here. So the long-term effects is what I was telling you about. And then the impact on your children and on the family unit. And I really want to drive this stuff home because this is the stuff that pulls on my heartstrings even more than all of the stuff that I just um, went over. Children witness the helplessness. Children also feel the helplessness because they're younger. They can't do what adults will do. They don't have the emotional and the emotional skills that we have. They haven't had the chance to develop them yet. They don't have the vocabulary that we have to articulate what they're feeling. So they will witness the helplessness of the person that they trust the most usually. They will feel helpless. They will absolutely start to have anxiety and oftentimes depression. And they will feel confused because these people, mother, father, mother, doesn't matter. Whoever's the adults in the relationship or in the connection, right? They're supposed to be the people that provide the stability for the child. So when that stability is lost, the child is now standing on an unsteady foundation, right? If your foundation is sturdy, then the walls of your house are going to stand, right? Imagine this. The walls of your house are going to stand. Then the rooms are going to be built and they're going to be sturdy. Then the windows are going to be secure. But if that foundation has even the littlest crack in it, everything can start to crumble. Everything. So that being said, we need to really, really take consideration into what is happening for the child. The child witnesses the control and the manipulation. And let me share with you too that the child can also be a victim of the financial abuse directly, not even indirect. Everything I brought up right now is indirect in a sense. Let me give you an example of direct financial abuse on a child. My ex-husband used to tell my son when he got gift cards for his birthday that if he got it from his family, he had to leave them with him, could not bring them back to my house, and I was the primary residential person, custodian. My son would ask him if he could go, when they were in Target, it was a big uh, choice for my son. So he would get, gift cards there a lot. And my son would say, "Can we go to Target when I come see you, Dad?" And he would come home and he would tell me, "Yeah, Mom, Dad and I went to Target and I was allowed to pick out one thing only if I let Dad use the money that was left on the gift card for himself." Okay, you're talking about a 7 to 11-year-old at the time when he started sharing that stuff with me. And that is absolutely financial abuse directly. There was manipulation because he would say, "Dad, can I get X?" And he would say, "You can get X, but only if you do this." So these were things this was behavior that my son was learning. And he was learning that it was okay. Thankfully, I countered it. And, I'm lucky in that my son really, as he grew, started to see things for what they were. But these things really do happen. And these kids are witnessing the parents that they trust. My son years later would say to me, "Mom, it would break my heart to see what Dad was doing and know that I couldn't do anything." So that's why I bring this stuff up. They're learning an unhealthy relationship dynamic. What my son learned and what other kids that I work with learn is that in order to get what you want, you have to listen to somebody blindly. You cannot challenge what they're saying, because if you challenge what they're saying, you're not going to have your basic needs met, or you're not going to get the things you want. And so there's so many different unhealthy relationship dynamics that they're learning that I can make a whole presentation just on the unhealthy dynamics that they're learning. I'm not going to do that right now, but I am going to leave you hopefully with some of the more powerful examples so you can start to think about, and when you see these things happening, I hope that I can empower people. If you see something, say something. And I know that's like a hot verbiage today, but it really fits. Um, as I said, children who experience financial abuse will develop fear and anxiety because of financial instability. They will be so fearful that they won't have the basics of what they need. And it'll be like that foundation that I'm telling you that had a crack in it. And I'm telling you that I have seen it with clients that I work with, and I've seen it with my own son. The amount of anxiety and fear that is created from not knowing how you're going to get your basic needs met, and that you might become homeless because you can't pay just your basic bills. It's a real thing. So now I want to talk about a little bit about how you can recognize financial abuse. Okay. And how you can recognize financial abuse is a partner who forces you, who basically forces you to have ask for money or give you an allowance. Again, like I said, they're sabotaging job opportunities or withholding your access to childcare. That was another thing my ex was good at. You should really go back to work so you can start financially helping us. But your salary just about pays for the childcare. So what do we do? Or, it's your fault. So you better figure this out kind of thing. Um, Running up debt in your partner, if the abuser is running up debt in your name, that's a classic one, people. And I'm telling you, this happens in families I work with. It happened. Minnie, stop. It happened in my own family. It really did. Um, my ex took my credit cards and maxed them out to the point where I had to then say it was fraudulent activity because I did not authorize his use. Let me just look her up. Sorry. Jim, come on. Let's go. Sorry, but I'm by the backyard door. So I become the door opener. Anyway, so I had to literally, um, you know, say it was fraud because I didn't authorize those charges. I could not say it was my husband at the time because then they would have made me responsible um, for the debt. But anyway, so, and then hiding financial information. My ex and other people's clients that I work with, my ex was classic for changing passwords. And I couldn't even change the password because he had made himself an administrator of the computer. So I couldn't get into the computer, to do certain things. I was very limited to the access I had, just to give you an example. And like I said, he would yell at me for not paying bills, but wouldn't give me access to the bank accounts, would not even give me access to the bills. He had this thing that I had to leave the mail in the mailbox till he got home because the first thing he liked to do was take the mail out of the mailbox. And this would be his reading material. It was probably too much information. But when he had to take care of his business, that would be his reading material. So don't ask me. I thought it was nuts. Still think it's nuts. But anyhow, forms of financial control and manipulation, as I said earlier, just to review, taking your partner's paycheck, refusing access to bank accounts, joint bank accounts, maxing out credit consent. That is a big one too. Denying financial support for children. All of that all of these and more are classic forms of control and manipulation, using money as the vehicle to do so. Okay, so the role of financial abuse and control is that it increases and creates dependency, as I said earlier. It manipulates emotions, right? You can really manipulate somebody's emotions around spending and budgeting. My ex we had money for anything he wanted or anything he needed. If my son and I needed or wanted anything, we had no money. We became the poorest people on the universe. And mind you, let me remind you that I was working. Yes, I was working part-time, but my paycheck automatically went to him or automatically, once I did direct deposit, went into our joint bank account. It was not even allowed. I did have a bank account of my own, and I was not even allowed to go into that bank account. And I know you might be saying to yourself, why did I fall for that? Or why did I allow that? Why? Because there was fear, there was control, there was a power trip, and I knew. And he would use the other thing that they do with the um financial abuse is they isolate you. So when you don't have money, you can't go out with people. You can't socialize the way you can in a lot of ways if you have money. I couldn't, my sister and I once told him I was going to go to my sister's for a little while. And he said if I did, when I got back, he and my son would be gone and I would never see my son again. So that's not an example of direct financial, abuse, but that's just showing you how, they isolate. And that he did that with family, friends, and everything. So, and I have clients. I'm using myself as an example because I have such experience in this, but to be able to do that. But these are things that I have helped my clients through as well and seen. Okay. So I got a little bit ahead of myself, but this is where we talk about the isolation, right? And they prevent you from accessing work, family, friends, right? They isolate you from your support systems. So you can't even ask for financial help from your support systems because like I couldn't go to family and say this was going on. A, because they thought he was my knight in shining armor and theirs as well. But he didn't let me near them unless he was present with me. And you 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 fall into the trap of feeling like leaving is just not possible. You don't want to be there. You know it's not healthy, but it's just not possible. So here are the key takeaways that I want to share with you today. All right. Financial abuse is a powerful form of control. It's not on the slide, but I'm going to say it. Financial abuse is 1 million trillion% a real thing. You are not making it up. It is not a fabrication. It is real. The impact that it has on it has on when I said victim here, I meant the person, the adult that was experiencing the control, but it affects the entire family unit, the adult, the children, and the family unit as a whole. Recognizing financial abuse is the first step towards making change. But let me say the caveat to that is when I started to recognize it, it was even more painful because I was recognizing what was happening, but I wasn't able to change it. I wanted to, but I wasn't able to because of how strategically he had control over everything in my life. If if breathing wasn't automatic, he probably would have had control over that. And that might sound dramatic, but it's really true. What you can do, as I said, be aware of the signs. And as soon as you start seeing the signs, do something. Say something to someone. Don't wait. Don't let yourself trust your intuition. Don't let yourself lead, don't push away the red flag of your intuition, the voice of your intuition, because you love him or you love her or you love them. Say something, because if you wind up being wrong, not that it's wrong or right, but if you wind up being able to work through this, it's still better to say something. Because if you're not able to work through it, which most people aren't, when it gets to this level, you're not, your partner is not your partner, really. They're your partner on paper, but they're not your partner. So you need to, the other thing you can do is if somebody comes to you or you see something's not right with that person, support the victims in getting the help they need. Don't do what my friends and family did to me and what happens to a lot of my clients and have this vision of this person that they're just such a great person. Remember, what you can't see behind closed doors is the reality of what's happening. And if somebody's disposition is changed, because people told me after he left that I completely did a 180 and I started smiling again, I didn't even realize how much I was showing it on the outside. until people started commenting. But if you notice that somebody's changing to that degree, then ask them. And if you don't know what to do, say, I don't know what to do, but at least know that I'm here for you and I believe you. And maybe the best thing you can say besides that is, I have no idea how to help, but we can figure this out together. And that's huge. And then use the available resources to help them empower themselves. If you need to do the research for them, then do the research. If you need to make the phone calls for them because they can't, because the abuser will know, then you do it for them. And by for them, I mean with them, because with them doesn't mean with them next to you. With them means because you know they can't. So you're doing it for them, but with them. Resources that you can look into to get help for people or yourself is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And the number is here for anybody that wants it or needs it or wants to take it down in case they know somebody that might need it. It's 1-800-799-7233. There are local financial abuse support groups. And let's use social media to our advantage in this regard, people, because there's plenty of resources online. If you cannot get out, use the online world to your advantage. Contact your local shelters or crisis centers. And then an organization that I volunteer with, that I just started volunteering with recently, and Crystal volunteers with, is Breaking the Silence Against Domestic Violence. We have a lot of resources online. There's a support line as well. So there's a lot of resources out there. But if you're the victim of the financial abuse, you might not be able to go get the help yourself. So this is where it comes for a lot of us to, if we see something, suspect something, say something. And I want to run you through a quick activity, but I need 2 volunteers. Anybody? Jen Lynn, I appreciate you.
Might as well
Anybody
be the
else?
hosts, right?
All right. Yay. All right.
Oh, wait, Kara. Kara said that she'd volunteer. So, Jen, you want me or you to step down? You're muted, sis.
Who's doing it?
I guess you're doing it because I'm muted, right?
You guys do it. No, I was the one that was muted. You guys do it. I'm watching, but you guys do it.
I work with Sharon in Breaking the Silence and everything. I've gone through a lot of this with her. You haven't.
Yes. We'll do.
Go for it.
All
right. So Jen Lynn and Kara. All right. I need somebody who wants to be the controlling person, aka the abuser, and who wants to be the controlled.
I always love playing the villain thing.
Do it.
Okay.
All right. What'd you say? You like to play the villain?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So the objective of this activity is to create empathy and understanding for the emotional impact that financial abuse has. Okay. It will help you. This activity is designed to help you understand the power dynamic that goes into the financial abuse. And it will help you understand the dynamics in the financial, how it creates the dependency, the fear, and the sense of powerlessness. So, just gonna do this. Okay. So here we go. This is just pretty much saying the same thing. All right. So, Kara, you as the dependent person, I hate the word abused, but you are going to plead your case for permission to access funds, okay? And you are going to have to justify your every reason for needing this money, all right? Villain over there who loves to play the villain?
No.
Huh?
No.
She's already in character.
No.
Oh, all right. So
I got it.
You are going to deny this person. You are going to delay their access to this need for money, and you're going to have to approve their request. Okay, and I trust that you are going to be able to, and I do mean this. I do trust that you're going to be able to demonstrate the different levels of what it means. Okay, so this is the discussion after. So, Kara, you need money for groceries.
Okay.
And for like shampoo and all the stuff that you would get when you do your weekly shopping. And Jen Lynn, you take it away because I don't need to do more than tell you that.
We're good.
All right?
All right. Ready?
You can go whenever you guys are ready.
Okay. It looks like we are out of your favorite creamer. We should probably go and get groceries. Would you like me to take care of that?
You know that I'm working right now. I don't care about my creamer right now. So, no.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I'll check on that later.
I'm sorry. Are you still here speaking to me about the creamer?
No, totally different. Also, I know you have a meeting in town tomorrow and it looks like you're out of gas. So if I go get groceries, I can also fill up your gas.
I don't need you to get my gas.
Of course you don't need it.
Gas. Are you trying to meet somebody outside?
No, I would love for you to come with me, but I know you're working.
No. So you know I'm working and you admit you know that I'm working, but yet you keep asking me the same question. And
great. When should we talk about this? When would be a better time?
Not now. Not now. Please. I'm busy.
You really need food.
I'm sorry. Are you prompting?
Yeah. But I don't know if you noticed, but our refrigerator is empty.
So they didn't really care about their thing, so I wasn't going to go towards somebody else's.
No, but they need food too. You're doing it for the family. The reason I'm prompting you is because this is also you're doing it for the family, right? We're trying to show how the family unit's affected too. That's why the groceries were. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. No, I missed that part, but I'm in now. Yes. Okay. And engage.
Yes.
Well, I would absolutely come back and do this. I don't want to bother you. But there are no groceries and we all need to eat because we're humans. And so when would be a better time to talk about this?
I don't know. Didn't your mom say something about she has some leftover meatloaf or something? Can't you call her and have her come?
Please.
Bring something?
You want my mom to have to feed your family. I mean, I could just go take care of this and then you would be able to work and then we would have dinner. Do you know what you want for dinner? Because I'll totally pick up what you want. Oh, no, Jenna, you're on mute. I can't hear you. It looked like it was so good too. This is really frustrating. Sorry.
Yeah, right. No, it is. I was saying, no, I don't know what I want to eat right now because I can't think because I'm trying to work and I can't do anything right now because you are being so insistent. I don't understand why you're being so insistent. We just ate breakfast like, I don't know, 2 hours ago.
Oh, absolutely. And this could all be done. I could just go to the grocery store. I just need your card.
You're not going to the grocery store right now. We're not going to the grocery store right now. Call your mom about that meatloaf that she called about. I don't know what else you want me to tell you right now. And
Wait, you could tell me when we will go to the grocery store.
I don't know. In fact, maybe not at all today. I don't know. I can't tell you that. And we don't have the gas, right? So don't be thinking that you can just go grab the keys and try to take off either, because you're not going to make it.
No, of course I would never do that.
Good job, you guys. Good job. Thank you both for being all in. Thank you for volunteering. And now what I want to do is, how did it feel to have to ask for the money? And how did it feel to have to justify every reason that you needed?
It's just so irritating. Right? It's making a request of a brick wall. Very quickly, you go like, there is no point to continuing to do this. I have to go find another way to make all of this happen.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot rely on that direct. There's nothing in that direction.
Yep. I heard you say, I heard you use, Kara, I heard you use the word, how frustrating it was. And it is. It's extraordinarily frustrating. I could sense that you were getting more amped up because you were feeling powerless and trapped by Jen Lynn's, just insistent no's. And so Jen Lynn.
Ask me what kind of household I grew up in.
So, being that you grew up in that kind of household, so now I have a question for you that's going to flip the script for you. How did it feel to control the access to the money?
I don't like it. It's gross, it's just gross. I'm so much of a, equal reciprocity. Like, honestly, like my stomach is hurting. Just from holding that kind of energy for that amount of time, my stomach is upset.
If you hadn't grown up in that kind of scenario, though, that's why it feels gross to you.
Oh yeah.
But for people that are abusers in this way,
well, then yes, right.
I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. I totally get where you're coming from, and I just want to show the other side of the coin, that when you are the financial controller in a form of financial abuse, this is that power trip is what keeps them going.
Well, right, because
the more frustrated you get, the more fuel you're putting on their fire. So they're gonna.
Right.
And just so you know, one of the things I've learned through the work that I do is I cut the conversation, I cut the scenario off because we had seen enough, and I could tell that we had gotten enough of the feelings, but the abuser will keep this going.
Oh yeah. We could have. I could have done. I could have kept going.
Yeah.
But even though
it was clear, like literally there was nowhere to go. That no was going to be the answer, and it did not matter how many ways that you said it, because I mean, on the upside, no is a whole sentence. Downside, when it's abused,
right?
It looks like that.
Yeah.
Downside when it's abused is no is a whole sentence. Yeah. And there's nowhere to go.
And there's nothing you can do. I mean, you are powerless. And I think that, financial abuse is actually one of the sneakiest forms, because it's so subtle in the beginning. And because a lot of us also grew up in households, even if you grew up in a household that wasn't like filled with violence and, manipulation and all of the things, it was very much so. We mostly grew up with moms that didn't have any kind of say so or real financial control. And it was the societal norm. And definitely wasn't something that was talked about, and it wasn't something that was even really recognized. So when you grow up, right, and you leave home and you go outside of the home, it's something that very easily, just like you said, Sharon, right, it's happening to you, and it's happening every single day. And every single day that you're so frustrated because you can't do anything without the permission, and that everything's a fight and everything's a struggle. But it is not until much later, when you're on the other side of it, that you're actually like, holy shit, that was actual financial abuse. That was actual financial manipulation. When my, twice in my life, I have been, abandoned by spouses, which this, and left with fucking zero, nothing, because that was part of the relationship, part of the dynamics was that, and had loans, had a car that I had just I'd gotten injured at work, so I got a settlement, and I had gone and bought a brand new car, paid for it in cash, owed nothing on it. Was so proud of it, because it was like the first thing in my life that, right, you're going to have, and I wasn't ever going to have to worry about that for 10 or 15 years, because the car was going to, and I lost that car within, it ended up being within about 7 weeks that I managed to hang on to it. But she had illegally gotten a title loan against the whole value of the car. And we had been paying, unbeknownst to me, like $800 every week. And I knew the money was going. I just didn't know where. Right. But anyway, lost it. And
yeah, you don't see it happening until you're on the other side of it. I mean, when my ex-husband left, I got phone from the electric company, from the oil company. Well, we're gonna come shut off your servers because you haven't paid us in 8 months. And I'm like, what?
yeah,
And then literally I had to use my credit card, almost maxed out from him, but because, I had to put it on my credit cards, which just put me in further debt, but at least my son had heat and food, and because it really was, it was about, we had a 7-year-old. And that's the other thing too, is the financial manipulation for me continued, in the sense of, if I didn't do what he wanted me to do in terms of co-parenting, he calls it co-parenting, but, um, you know, he would try to withhold the child support check.
my God, don't even get me started.
And then I'd be like, and there were things in our divorce decree where he had to pay for certain things, and he had to pay for some additional things, but he would say to me, no, but child support covers that. And I'd be like, no, you don't understand. The child support helps pay the bill. And he's like, why should I have to pay your bills? I said, because you're helping support our child, and the heat that does the house heats him, not just me. Him about his hatred, which I still to this day never understood, but his absolute hatred for me. And he didn't want to understand, for me, impacting our son. And it had nothing to do, with me. So, but yeah, so when you don't really see it until you're on the other side. But it's not you. And it's a real thing. And the effects last for a while. We are more than our circumstances. It's one of my favorite quotes. We are more than our circumstances.
We absolutely are.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen Lynn. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank
you, everybody.
That was amazing. And you, Sharon, actually know one of my little guilty pleasures is I watch all those stupid little dramas, like the cage dramas, but I also do those text dramas that they have on YouTube, while I'm washing my dishes. And that whole thing just reminded me of one of those little text dramas that you guys were doing. So it did give me a little giggle. And I think I'm not going to claim credit on that one, but I do know that Sharon knows that those are my guilty pleasures. She's one of the few that does. And I see that little smirk, my dear. You did that on purpose. I love you.
Full inspiration, if so, right? Because it's so powerful.
I do appreciate that you did that. And it is true, though, when it comes to the whole financial, like, abuse, you don't even realize it truly. My ex, he would literally take, like, if I didn't make sure to separate money really quickly as soon as I got paid, because he was the stay-at-home parent.
Mhm.
If I didn't, like, hide money away really quickly, he would blow all of it. I can't tell you how many times Matt, because like I've said, Matt, for those of you that don't know, Matt and I were very good friends before we got together. He literally saved me, like, literally, like, my life a few times, and Matt bailed us out with our utility bills and things like that. Come to find out, when I would get my tax refund, I would give him the money to do the property taxes on our house. No, blew him. Now, granted, that house was a pit, and I'm okay with having lost it. I swear it was like not the haunting, but Amityville Horror House. I'm not even lying. One day I went to lay down to take a nap. I was a little tipsy, and I swear to God, out of the wall, I heard like a disembodied male voice saying, "Get the fuck out." I'm not even lying. This house was awful. It was haunted, and I know it wasn't my ex because I could hear him out in the backyard drinking, playing with the kids. So I know it wasn't him messing with me, just to put that out there. So, but he seriously would blow my paychecks on pot, drugs, booze, whatever, and not care about the kids. I would have to hide the girls' food and snacks from him. There were plenty of days where I went without just so that my girls could eat.
Yeah.
So financial abuse is very real. And that is why I asked Sharon to speak on that. When they control you in that way, financially and emotionally, they don't have to be physical. The abuse does not have to be physical for it to be devastating. Honestly, I feel
Exactly.
emotional abuse and putting that kind of control on you, like the financial abuse, is worse than physical abuse. Honestly. Bruises, broken bones, those heal. But the emotional wounds that we suffer take a lot longer.
Yeah, and like I said, like somebody in the comments, I think Zara said, "What about the boy toys?" And that was the thing. Anything that he wanted, if he got it in his head that he wanted a TV and something else. I don't remember what, but one year for our anniversary, he goes, rather than get separate gifts, why don't we get something for the house? And of course, the somethings for the house were things that not even things we needed, just things that he felt he wanted, and he felt we needed.
A new PS3.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to use it to watch movies.
Exactly.
No, it's so that you can play Call of Duty all day long and ignore our children while I'm at work busting my butt. No, thank you. But yet I did. So yes, Sharon, I know the whole toys and things. I agree.